Hey, this is Comedy on 11, the show where we talk about comedy and music. I'm Thom Tran, comedian, guitarist, actor, nerd, and this week we're talking about the Naked Gun movie, 2025, Airlines breaking guitars again, and pedals that I own that I cannot remember the last time when I actually used them. This is a big week. A lot has happened. I finally took the opportunity to go to see the Naked Gun movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It is inspired comedy. I am not exaggerating. If you're of the younger ilk and you don't remember a time in the world where there was a Naked Gun movie, the show featured, the original show starred Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin, and the new one, it has Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin Jr., and I cannot remember the last time I had that much fun in a movie. It was, first of all, let me tell you, I went to see it at, I think, 2:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, like just a out of the pocket time to go. And the theater was busy. It wasn't packed. It wasn't like Avengers Endgame on a Friday night packed, but it was busy for 2:30 on a Wednesday at the AMC Burbank 16 in Burbank. So like a bigger theater, a lot more seats, more screens. But that's the first thing that caught my attention, that there were so many people there to see this comedy on a Wednesday afternoon. And if you've never seen the Naked Gun movies, they are these ridiculous, over-the-top, laugh-a-minute comedies, just absurdist comedy in the veins of Airplane. And Leslie Nielsen did a bunch of them back in the 80s, 2 or 3 of them at least. And I have not been in a theater where the entire audience laughed along together like this in I don't know how long. That's the thing that like just amazed me right off the top. Like it was funny right off the bat. The jokes were, the laughs per minute was just unbelievable. And I enjoyed it so much because it's one of those movies where you can't look at your phone. This is not a second screen viewing situation. And I mean, if you had to look down, that's one thing, but you're missing these visual jokes, these gags, on top of gags, on top of jokes, on top of more jokes. And it was so great to see an audience and a theater full of people all laughing together at the same time like that. The movie stars Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin Jr., who is the son of Leslie Nielsen's Frank Drebin from the original show. You've also got Pamela Anderson as Beth Davenport, who plays the femme fatale in the series, or in this particular movie. I believe it was Priscilla Presley in one of the other movies. Yes, that Priscilla Presley. We also have Paul Walter Hauser, who was inspired. He has been killing it. Paul Walter Hauser is in The Naked Gun. He was in Fantastic Four, First Steps as Mole Man. I first discovered him in Cobra Kai on Netflix. And I just found out Paul Walter Hauser used to be the door guy at the comedy club that I work at in Burbank all the time. Flappers. Like, I guess somebody last night was like, yeah, that dude used to work the door here. He was like the ticket guy. And I think it was before my time, at least before I started hanging out there a lot. So I didn't know him at the time. You know, I didn't start really working that club until like 2018, 2018, I think, when I started being there more regularly. So, and it was certainly before that time. But Paul Walter Hauser, and I keep wanting to call him Paul Walker Hauser, and I don't know if that's disrespectful to either of them, but he is killing the game right now. The dude is very funny. He was great in Fantastic Four First Steps. He was great in Cobra Kai. And he is, he's one of the, I think, second or third male lead in The Naked Gun. Killing it. Bro is killing it right now. You also have Danny Houston as Richard Crane. He's the bad guy. I mean, that's not really spoiling anything. Anytime Richard Crane shows up in a movie, he's typically the bad guy. And it was just so fun. This movie was so fun. Right off the bat, there's a visual gag in the first, I'm not kidding, 45 seconds of the movie. And the whole audience. And it's the whole audience laughed. And up until now, I was so afraid that comedy was just going to, comedy in movies was just going to disappear because they have not had a lot of theatrical luck lately. Like you got rom-coms, you have dramedies, but you haven't had a comedy like this, much less a spoof comedy like this. Back in the day, there were Not Another Movie movies forever. The scary movies with the Wayans brothers forever. And then a drop-off, a major drop-off. And this Naked Gun, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this, but everything I heard from people was like, it's really funny. And I went and I checked it out, and it is legit funny. The movie is directed by Akiva Schaffer from Never Stop, Never Stopping. He is this gentleman on the right over here. I don't know if you can see that. He's one of the Lonely Island guys, obviously, along with Andy Samberg. He directed Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, which is an underrated movie. I love the Lonely Island guys. I think they're so talented and so funny. And Never Stop, Never Stopping, Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, such an underrated movie. I think it's because it costs like $25 million to make, and it like just kind of broke even at the box office. But again, it's like, it was this time where comedy, high concept comedy like that, it's hard to get people into the theater because you have TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and everything. And, comedians are making a name for themselves 30 seconds at a time. And when you get a high concept comedy like Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stoppin', that is genuinely effing hilarious, and it costs $25 million to make, and it doesn't make its money back, like the studios just go, we don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. It costs too much, and it's not worth the time and the effort, according to the studio. So Akiva Schaffer, who is a great director, directed The Naked Gun 2025. And you definitely see shades of Lonely Island in this movie. Some of the jokes are very Lonely Island-esque. But again, it's like this absurdist parody comedy that was just amazing. And you have to pay attention. And I think really that is like the thing I want people to take away from, like, go see The Naked Gun in a theater. Sure, you can wait for it to hit streaming. It'll probably only be a couple of months. But there is nothing like the experience of laughing with a theater full of people in the dark. Because comedy is so subjective, And even in comedy clubs, I see people, like, you do a joke, and depending on how the demographic of people in there and the lighting in the room or whatever, like, people will go, like, they're not sure if they want to laugh. This movie, everyone laughed. Nobody was like, oh my God, should I laugh at this? Like, do I have to wait? Everyone laughed. I don't know if a single joke didn't land. And it was just that feeling of being in a room full of people all laughing at the same time was amazing to me. And here's an example. So I did a movie recently. And I don't know if it's because I'd seen it several times already, like in the screening process of the movie. I don't know if it's because I was a part of the movie. I don't know if it was because I did, pre-production stuff, helped on the movie. But when I watched it at my house on my TV, I was watching it with my girlfriend. It's not a comedy, the movie. Okay, I'll just say the movie. My Dead Friend Zoe that I did for my friend Kyle. He was the writer and the director. It's not like I can beat around the bush and just go to my IMDb page like, what movie did he just do? I was in a movie called My Dead Friend Zoe, which is a dark comedy. It is not a laugh per minute raucous comedy like The Naked Gun, but there are definitely jokes in there. Definitely more comedic parts of this very intense script and story. And I remember sitting there watching it with my girlfriend. And again, I'd already seen it 3 times at this point. I'd seen screenings of it. I was in it. And I remember sitting there just like, okay, I get this joke. I get the joke. And they were jokes that were like, maybe you had to be in the military to kind of get this joke. You know what I mean? Like maybe it would be helpful if you were in the military and got that joke. But then it premiered at South by Southwest in this huge theater. And it was, I'd say, 80% civilians. And it's not like the movie was like, you have to be in the military to understand this movie. It was, it's a true story, based on a true story. True experiences, I should say. And those jokes in that theater, in a room full of strangers who were there watching a movie, hit so hard. I remember going, oh my God, what's happening? Like, it was the same movie I'd watched a bunch of times. And again, it was probably because I'd watched it 3 or 4 times before that. Probably because I read the script a bunch of times. But the experience of being in a theater with people watching a comedy, I can't believe it. Like the feeling I got and as a comedian, being in a room with people laughing that much, that hard for an hour and a half at this absurdist film brought such joy to my life. It was so good. I mean, and you can't go in expecting Citizen Kane. It's a very basic comedy story. Good guy gets pulled into a crime scene. Good guy gets, spoiler, he gets, pinned for a murder, and then he's got to prove that he didn't do it. It's a very basic plot, but it's all the jokes in there that were so good. So if you have not seen The Naked Gun yet with Leslie Nielsen, I implore you, go watch that movie. Go watch it in a theater. Go watch it with friends. Check it out. It's so funny. And I hope that studios don't get the wrong idea about what just happened. Because I don't know how much money it made yet. Let's find out. How much money did this movie make? Let's go to Box Office Mojo. According to Box Office Mojo, The Naked Gun 2025 had a domestic pull of 32.9 million. Its opening was 16.8 million. It's got an international pull of 23 million with a worldwide gross of $56,338,000. Let's see if there's a budget in here. Let's see if they tell us what the budget for the movie was. Okay, according to the interwebs, The Naked Gun 2025 had a budget of $42 million. It's already pulled in $56 million. And you might think, well, it made its money back. Not really. Typically, I should say, films require 2.5 times their budget to make their money back. That's like Hollywood math. You have to pay for marketing and advertising and all that. So 56 million worldwide on a $46 million budget. I think it's in like its second or third week. Not bad. Not bad. I hope it makes its money back. But again, I hope Hollywood doesn't take the wrong lesson from this and go, oh, we can just take an old IP and zhuzh it up a little bit. I know they're making another scary movie with the Wayanses coming up next year. But I hope Hollywood takes the right lessons from this and just make a good movie. Just make a good movie, guys. That's it. Make it funny. Make it for cheap. There's no reason you need to make $100 million comedy, and make it good and make it funny, and let the word of mouth. You know, I genuinely would not have gone to see this if I hadn't heard so many people say, "Oh, it's really funny." I was so excited at the reviews that it was getting. So. Yeah, I'm really excited. If you haven't seen The Naked Gun, go see it. Absolutely go see it. Such a good flick. So funny. So funny. Okay, so that was the comedy portion of Comedy on 11. Let's talk about the music portion right now. Some bad news for one particular guitarist. And this happened just the other day, and I was scrolling through Instagram, and I follow a guitarist named Emily Wolf, who is just a beast of a guitarist. She's a Gibson artist, and one of the first things I saw that day was this. It was a photo that she posted of her custom Emily Clark Epiphone guitar with a broken headstock. And I'll read you what the post said. It says, yesterday I flew with my Epiphone White Wolf guitar on Southwest to Vegas. I followed every guideline with traveling with an instrument. Hard shell flight case, checked in properly, fragile stickers, and paid the new bag fees. When I opened the case, the headstock was completely broken off. I filed a report at the airport, provided photos, proof of value, and repair estimates. Despite following their process exactly, I was told they're not responsible for anything inside the case and that the instruments are considered fragile items. If airlines can damage professional grade instruments, charges extra for them, and then refuse to take responsibility, it puts every traveling musician at risk. This is not just about one guitar, it's about protecting the tools of our craft. Southwest Airlines, you can do better by setting an example and doing the right thing, cover the repair cost, do better for all of us who fly with your gear, with our gear. This is exactly one of the reasons I stopped being a guitar comic. Because if 3/4 of my act or half of my act or whatever it was at the time when I started relied on a guitar and that happened and I opened my case and the headstock was broken off, it hurt my soul when I saw that photo. And there's another photo that she posted which is just heartbreaking of the headstock just completely off. And if you're listening to the podcast, you're not watching the video, I'll put the link to the photos in the notes section. But this is heartbreaking. Any professional touring musician understands how important it is to have your gear. And to see this happen, just absolutely, I was like, I saw that and I immediately texted that photo to my girlfriend. And I was like, this is why I needed a good, dedicated carbon fiber travel guitar. Like this thing that just happened with the headstock broken off inside a case, marked fragile, a hard shell travel case that the airport says you gotta have. She did all the things correctly and they still broke it. They still broke the neck. And then Pete Thorne chimed in and he said, my last trip to Vegas, Southwest Airlines, same deal. Les Paul, broken headstock. Also, same thing happened to Gilby Clark's Les Paul on the same trip. Southwest, go F yourself. Now, someone did bring up the fact that these were all Gibson or Epiphone style guitars. And Gibsons and Epiphones notoriously have easily breakable headstocks. I get that. I understand it. You know, some people don't play Gibsons or Epiphones specifically because that headstock is at such a tilt that this can happen. This can happen very easily. Now, with that said, even if it is, you know, partially because of that, there's no reason for this. There's no reason for the headstock to have gotten snapped like that in a hard shell travel case. Some kind of, what had to happen physically for that kind of damage to happen to this guitar? I have dropped guitars in cases from unfortunately high distances, and this never happened. This neck snapping like that has never happened. So my question is, regardless if it's a Gibson or an Epiphone and the neck is, or the headstock is like, you know, tilted at that angle, the kind of carelessness and physical stress that had to have happened to this instrument for the neck to snap like that, completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. And Southwest needs to get their S together and fix that and repair it. Because if they don't, what happened to them or what happened to United Airlines could happen to Southwest Airlines. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, back in 2009, there was a guy named Dave Carroll. He was in a band called the Sons of Maxwell. If you're watching the YouTube video, you're going to see the video of Dave. So his band was flying, they're a Canadian group. They were flying from Halifax to Chicago, and United Airlines broke his Taylor guitar. He goes to United Airlines and he says, hey, you guys broke my very expensive instrument. And Taylor was like, well, we're not fixing it. You can go after yourself. We're not fixing it. And Dave goes and writes a song, actually writes a trio of songs. He writes 3 songs called United Broke My Guitars. They released these. United refused to pay for the instrument, which if we look at, you know, the cost of a Taylor guitar, here we've got some Taylors on Reverb right now. $1,800, $4,600, $4,200. They're not cheap instruments. You know, you get a good custom Taylor GS like this one that I'm looking at on Reverb, $12,000. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it was a, let's say it was a, you know, just a regular touring guitar, and it cost him, I don't know, $2,000, $2,500 at the most. Let's say he was bringing a professional Taylor 712 CE or 612 CE, and it cost like $3,000. United refused to pay that $3,000 to replace the guitar. Dave goes on and writes this song called United Broke My Guitars. He writes 3 songs. United stock drops 10%, which wind up costing the company $180 million because they didn't want to pay $3,000 to fix his guitar, because they didn't want to take responsibility for their staff breaking his precision instrument. And I guess the song goes, he was on an airplane and people just like behind him were going, "Oh my God, they're throwing guitars back there." And he looks out and he sees the airline staff like literally just tossing guitars around. Maybe not like they are in the video, but they are not careful with them. And apparently the crew members he talked to just didn't give an F. They were just like, whatever, we don't care. It doesn't matter to us. And had United just paid the, let's say at most $2,500, $3,500 guitar, that wouldn't have happened. They lost $180 million in value because they refused to pay for his guitar. They refused to take responsibility. That's what it was. It wasn't that they broke the guitar. They refused to take responsibility for a passenger's stuff, expensive stuff. And I believe that case is now studied at Harvard Economics about, companies taking responsibility for their passengers and their customers and doing the right thing. Like, just do the right thing. And United lost $180 million because of it. So when the thing happened with Emily Wolf, that was the first thing I thought about. I'm sure that is the first thing every guitarist thought about when they saw that, when they saw Emily's photo. And I think, God, how many times did that get favorited? Like 10,000 times? Southwest Airlines, who already are doing a bang-up job killing their own company. Recently Southwest decided to get rid of the open boarding. They started charging for seats again. I used to fly Southwest almost exclusively when I was touring as a comedian. And now, I haven't flown them in a while, but I'm never going to fly them again. All the advantages there were to flying Southwest Airlines, the open seating, the no charges for flight changes, the no luggage fees, all of that's gone. And now this, oh boy. If what happened to United happens to Southwest, it's going to be nobody's fault but their own. Because they knew. They knew that happened. I mean, it was, it was 2009 that happened, so 16 years ago. But it's case law. They lost $180 million because of it. So I hope Emily gets her guitar fixed, or United gets their S together and does the right thing. Just do the right thing, That's all that takes. And after this whole thing with Emily's video, or Emily's guitar getting broken, like I said, I immediately sent that post to my girlfriend. And it's interesting that happened because just the other day I saw a video of Chiari guitars. I don't know. I think that's how you say it. Chiari guitars. And it was being played by Steve Stevens, who of course plays for Billy Idol. He played with, Michael Jackson, Robert Palmer. He played in Vince Neil's band for a while. He's a beast. And I saw a video of him using one of these Chiari guitars. Let's see if I can find the video over here. So he was playing this travel guitar, which apparently you just loosen the strings, pop open the back, and the neck folds down. It is like a true travel guitar, like a real regular guitar that you full scale length. Every videos that I've seen so far about it, and like Paul from Guitar World again, he did a video on it. There it is. There's the video of like you just fold the guitar down, fold the neck. It fits in a backpack, fits underneath the seat in the airline, and I'm like, man, like what kind of coincidence is it that I've been looking at travel guitars and I've been, going back to comedy, guitar comedy, and writing songs for this album and looking for the right instrument to take on the road with me. And then all of this happens. Chiari guitar thing happens. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Chiari guitars. I see this video. I see the Steve Stevens video. The thing with Emily's guitar happens. And I'm like, man, I'm so glad. I am so glad that I found Close Guitars when I did. Yes, I know I've been talking about I've been talking about the Close Guitars Grand Cutaway Mini for a while now. But again, I'm in love with this thing. I'm in absolute love with this instrument. And yeah, man, it's a great guitar. It's a great instrument. And it's the acoustic that I need that you can take apart and put underneath the seat in a guitar. I mean, the big test is going to be this weekend. I am going to Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Blue Whale Comedy Festival. I'm going to be showcasing at the Next Wave show. It's like the 5 comics to watch show. And I'm going to bring, it's going to be my first out of town gig with the guitar. Like I used it down in San Diego, but I drove. So I just threw it in the case in the back of my car. And like we talked about last week, it fell while I was trying to put it down. Totally fine. So I feel so much better about my decision to buy that guitar. Especially after what just happened to Emily. Just all the fear that I've had for years about traveling with precision instruments. Yeah, I could fly with a $200 guitar, $500 guitar, whatever. But even if they break a $500 guitar, it's a $500 guitar. I don't want that. I don't want to show up to a gig with a cracked guitar. So thank God I found Close Guitars when I did. Super excited to take it on the road with me. You know, I've got Chicago coming up. I've got Tulsa coming up. Buffalo. I'm interested in seeing the Chiari guitar in action. One of my fans actually on my Facebook page, I'd mentioned that, the Emily thing happened. And one of my fans is like, my buddy owns Chiari guitars. So maybe I'll get in touch with them and see what's up with that. I kind of dig the Chiari guitar. I kind of dig it. Let's see, where is it again? That photo? Yeah, I kind of dig these. There's that pink one. The black one's kind of dope. The shape, I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's like, it's almost like a Wolfgang / Ernie Ball-ish shape. Kind of a Les Paul / Telecaster kind of thing. I dig it. I kind of dig it. And if it folds down, and still sounds great. The only thing is, I don't travel with an electric guitar, really. Which is, something we'll get into when we talk about the subject of this video. I used to play out with bands all the time. Don't have the time for that anymore. I'm doing stand-up almost exclusively. So I travel with my acoustic. That's it, But I dig the CRE guitar. I really like it. And maybe if I have a reason to get one, I'll reach out to CRE Guitars. But I really like my close Grand Acoustic, or my close Grand Cutaway Mini. I really dig it. Sounds great. Plays great. And again, I'm not getting paid. Close is not paying me. They're not paying me to do this. I just dig the guitar that much. So yeah, that's what's happening in the world of music right now. Let's get to this week's subject. I was trying to figure out what I want to talk about this week, and I realized that there are what I like to call pedals I never use. Now, as musicians, guitarists, we are all guilty of buying gear, using it, and then going, I'm not going to use this right now. Or I'm going to switch it up for another piece of gear. Or I'm just going to take it off my pedal board for now, and I'll use it later. I have a literal shelf of pedals. Like this was, and you can probably see it behind me. This is actually right there, right behind me. That's that photo. I don't know why I took a photo, but that is an IKEA shelf that my girlfriend bought. And when we moved into this house, she hung one of my Strats on the wall in the living room, one of the Strats that I don't use very much. She was like, hey, I like that purple guitar that you never play. Or not the purple one, the blue one. So she hung my like blue Richie Sambora Mexican Stratocaster on the wall. She goes, this wall needs more color. So she grabbed this shelf we got from IKEA and a bunch of pedals that I very rarely use. And just like literally, it's art. It was just art on the wall. It is now in my studio behind me, as you can see if you're watching the video. But this was just hanging on the wall in my house. And I realized that there are pedals that I've bought, and we switch them out. I swapped them out. I got a Van Halen overdrive pedal that I swapped out for the SD1. The SD1 goes on the shelf until I need it for something else. The TU3, truth is I have 5 tuner pedals all over the place. A bunch of them are Boss pedals. Some of them are not. But like this TU3, I think this came off I don't know what the hell that came off. It probably just, I bought it, lost it in a box, bought a new one to replace it, and then found this one. With that said, we are all guilty of having pedals that we don't use. So I wanted to go through the top 4 pedals that I own, that I still have, that I almost never use. Or I can't even remember the last time I used it. And if you have pedals that you've never used or haven't used, or you're just like, I don't know why I still keep this, let me know in the comments below. So let's start with the first pedal that I almost never use, and we'll explain why I have it. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier with, traveling with electric guitars. The Boss AC2 Acoustic Simulator. There was a time in my life when I would play out and I'd have to pick which guitars I want to bring. And I'd be like, I don't want to bring an acoustic guitar. Again, for that reason of like, they break real easy. And I'd, inevitably we'd have to play a tune with an acoustic guitar. And I'd be like, I don't want to bring an acoustic. So I discovered the Boss AC2 years ago. And it's fine. Does it sound like an acoustic, like a real acoustic guitar? No. It makes your electric guitar kind of less electric-y. Yeah, it's, I don't know why I keep it around. Because maybe in my head, I'm like, oh, there might come a time in my life again where I'm gigging out with electric guitars. Actually, you know what? When I started doing guitar comedy again, I was like, oh yeah, I could bring my electric. I was playing, more shreddy little stuff in between songs. And it's difficult to do on an acoustic guitar. So I was like, I'll just bring an electric and my Boss AC2. Actually, I have video of that from as recently as maybe 2021 of me with my purple Eddie Van Halen guitar, which is over there somewhere. I think it's on the workbench. It's not on the wall. No, it's not on the wall. So yeah, I was like, I'm going to bring my electric, run it through my AC2 into a preamp, and then like into the board. And it didn't sound good, you guys. It didn't sound good. A buddy of mine was at that gig, and he just pulls me aside and goes, "Don't do that again. Don't do that again. Not the music. The songs were good. He says, don't bring your electric guitar again." So I was like, all right. So yeah, the Boss AC2 acoustic simulator. I bought it. I own it. It sits on that shelf. It's literally right there, right now. Will I ever get rid of it? I don't know. It's a little part of my history. It's a little part of my musical DNA. And I don't know if it ever gets to the point where I need it again. But something in me is like, don't sell this. You'll need this for something one day. I'm never going to need this thing again. Pedal number 2 on my list of pedals that I own that I never play. The Boss Tremolo TR2, which again, also, it's right there. It's right next to the DS1. It's right there on my shelf of shame. I genuinely don't know why or when I bought this pedal. I have never in my life was like, I need a TR2. I have Floyd Rose trems up and down in this house. I got Floyd Rose trems not even on guitars, just kicking about. I think I took one off in Ibanez. I don't know why I own this pedal. The only thing I can think is that at one point my girlfriend was like looking at that shelf and she probably said, "You need another blue pedal." I genuinely think that's the only reason I own this. I have never played it. I have never plugged it in. I don't remember where I got it, when I got it, how much I paid for it. Do not know why I own this pedal. And right now, it is literally just the other blue pedal on this shelf that at some point my girlfriend has informed me this is going back up on a wall somewhere. If and when she redecorates and she needs to add color to the wall in our living room, that shelf of currently unused pedals, because we all swap them out, that's going back on the wall, and it's going to need at least 2 blue pedals. And that's what it is. That's all. I don't know why I own it. I've never used it. And I may never use it. All right, pedal number 3 on the list of pedals I almost never play. And when I show you this pedal, you will understand why I have it. You will know what songs I have it for. And you will understand my pain. The MXR M222 Talkbox. And in your head, you're thinking of one of 2 songs. Peter Frampton or Bon Jovi. Those are bands, but yeah. It's the only reason I own this. It's the only reason I own this. To do the talkbox thing for Living on a Prayer. That's it. That's it. I'd never use this pedal for anything else. There are gigs I bring it to where I'm like, hey guys, I don't want to do the song today because you got to run the tube up to the microphone and got to get the tube tied up next to the microphone. It's a pain in the arse. And I think I play Frampton a little bit. That's it. It's the only reason, Living on a Prayer. And why is that Frampton song escaping me right now? I'm sure someone's yelling at their computer. But that's the only reason I own this pedal. But again, there may come a time in my life, in my head, where a friend calls who plays in a Bon Jovi cover band, and I have a friend who plays in a Bon Jovi cover band, and he'll be like, hey, I need you to fill in tonight, and I need you to bring the talk box. And I'm going to go, well, as a matter of fact, I have a talk box. And that's the only reason I keep this around. It's on a pedal board that's underneath a shelf on the other side of my studio that I almost never get. So MXR M222, love you. You'll be under there. And as you can see from this photo, there's another Boss TU3. Just like another, I told you, I have a half dozen tuners, tuner pedals around here. The number of tuners in this house is absurd. Which is, again, why I love my close Grand Cutaway Mini with the high vibe pickup, because it's got a built-in tuner. Again, Close is not paying me for this. Next pedal that I own that I almost never use, and as a Van Halen fan, I feel great shame for this. As you can see behind me, I've got, right back there, I've got the Frankenstein on the wall. Next to that, I don't know if you can see, that's a purple PV Wolfgang hardtail. Next to that is a Wolfgang Van Halen, the SA-126. And on the workbench is my Ernie Ball Music Man purple hardtail. As a Van Halen fan, as a dyed-in-the-wool, hardcore Van Halen fan, the fact that I don't use this pedal more brings great shame to me and my ancestors. It is, where's the pedal? It is the MXR flanger. I really should use this pedal more. And again, the fact that I do not hurts my soul in a way that I cannot describe. Unless I'm playing pre-Sammy Hagar VH, I cannot think of a single time I've used this pedal outside of Van Halen. And you know what? A bonus fifth pedal that you can just kind of see on the side. If you can see over here, where is it? You can see it on the left side. The Phase 90, the MXR Phase 90. Two pedals that unless I am specifically playing pre-5150 album era Van Halen, I do not use. And I am admittedly a mediocre guitarist at best. I love Van Halen, play nothing like Ed. But these two pedals, again, I own them both. I almost never play them. And I keep them around because what if one day my friend comes over? That's always the thing. What if one day my friend comes over and he's like, I need you to play some Fair Warning, some Diver Down stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, I've got my flanger and my Phase 90 over here. It's the only reason I have those pedals. Like, I genuinely, I've never written with them. You know, I don't think I've used them on a solo that wasn't a Van Halen solo. And I still have them both. I mean, I have the Van Halen overdrive pedal over there. I don't know if you can see that. It's not in the photo. I do have a Van Halen overdrive pedal over there that I do use a lot. That replaces the SD1, the Boss. But yeah, I can't bring myself to get rid of these pedals. Those 4 pedals that I own, 5 pedals if you count the Phase 90. I don't know why that's not on the list. I think I've used the Phase 90 on other stuff just to give it a little, whatever the Phase 90 does. I'm terrible. I'm not Michael Winslow. But yeah, the AC2, the acoustic simulator, the AC2, the tremolo pedal, the MXR talk box, and the flanger. Pedals that I own, that I almost never use, that I will not get rid of. for reasons. So there we go. That's this week's episode of Comedy on 11. What pedals do you own that you almost never use? Let me know in the comments below. I have a lot going on. My busy season, which usually starts in October, basically starts last week. I was in San Diego. I had the Burbank Comedy Festival this week. I have the Blue Whale Comedy Festival coming up in Tulsa, Oklahoma this weekend, August 16th. If you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, come out for that. September 20th, I'm going to be at the Field Museum in Chicago, opening for David Spade. That's going to be a fundraiser for Farm to Veteran, which is a great organization that helps get fresh food to veterans. David Spade's going to be the headliner. I'm going to be opening for him. I'm also going to be the host of the gala, which is a thing I seem to be doing a lot of recently. Then October 15th, I'm going to be in Buffalo, New York, my hometown, doing a fundraiser for the International Institute of Buffalo. And then October 16th, the very next day, UB Center for the Arts, opening for my friend Brad Williams in my hometown. And then we've got a couple of military gigs. Well, they're Veterans Day-ish gigs. They're going to be around Veterans Day. One's going to be at the Merced Theater in Merced, California, and then the Lancaster Performing Arts Center. There's going to be November 7th and 8th. In between all those dates, I've got shows here in LA. I'm doing production stuff, and I am working on pre-production for my album and the recording of that. So that's what's going on. Thank you for watching the show. Let me know if you have gear that you own that you can't bear to part with. Let me know what it is in the comments. If you like the show, please hit like, follow, subscribe, do all the things, tell a friend, share it with your friends, and hit me up on the website. Hit me up at _Thom Tran, THOMTRAN. The show is at Comedy on 11 Pod. I was looking at the logo for my quiz show, which threw me off. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And remember to turn the laughs up to 11.